Warning, this video is intended for adult collectors. It contains plastic collectibles, questionable opinions, and a reviewer who should have retired by now. You have been warned. This is Random Review.
Before we begin, thank you very much to Akira Man, the drunk Canadian beaver, for joining my Patreon campaign. I feel like every time I run low on Patreon shoutouts, someone with that kind of name comes in, and it's delightful. Thank you for letting me shout out something so weird. Thank you in general. I said I was caught up on shoutouts. I am no longer caught up on shoutouts, so we might make it to the end of the month. We might make it one more month without any days of normal intros, so congratulations. I don't know if I'm being bullied at this point or not, but I appreciate it. Thank you guys so much for the generosity. Keeps everything going. This is a rare experience because, one, I've got a toy relatively early, though it did get cited in the US recently, so I'm not that far ahead of the curve. However, it is a toy I've been really excited about. It is a toy that, once I got in hand, it's one of the rare occasions where I'm like, I've got to go tell people about this. I came down to the toy shop on my day off to film this because this is just such a cool figure. It's such a cool piece. We were talking about the new Gamer Edition Studio Series Optimus Prime, the one based on the High Moon Studios War for Cybertron game. This one had a Generations figure back in the day when the game was still fresh, and now we have our first new take on it from Hasbro. And let's see exactly how this thing turned out. So, for starters, you have the classic Optimus Prime color scheme in full effect here. It's a very rich, nice shade of red, as well as a very nice shade of blue. You do have a little bit of dark gray poking through there for the smokestacks, and you can see a tiny bit of it exposed here and there. But for the most part, it's a very solid hunk of red and blue plastic, which is very nice to see. The original toy had a lot more gray exposed in the vehicle mode that kind of threw it off. I'm really kind of happy that this came out the way it did. Looks a lot more solid than the original toy. And I've always really liked the shape of this figure. It looks like a bullet. It looks like a big cannon shell was given wheels. It's a super cool way of depicting a Cybertronian Optimus Prime that still looks believable as something that could be a pickup or a semi-truck one of these days. It's the kind of vehicle that I think would look really good with the Origin figures. If you have Origin Bumblebee and Jazz, I think this would be right at home with them, weirdly enough. But yeah, it is a super cool, super futuristic looking truck. I love the overall, the uniqueness of it with the front wheels being so much larger than the rear. I like all the extra grooves going through here. It's the kind of thing that doesn't require a windshield. There's always that part of me in my brain going, why do Decepticons bother with windshields and canopies you can see through when no one is ever going to drive them? Why do Cybertronian alt modes have canopies? Why do they have windshields? No one drives them. So this is pretty spot on to what I would assume would be a correct Cybertronian alt mode for a Transformer. No windshield, though you can still see areas that you would consider either visors, sensors, visual aids of that sort. The front does give us some paint job on this. There's quite a bit of silver showing through, not only in the layer below, but on the frontmost and the bumper, obviously. Along the sides, we've got the rims painted in silver and a little bit of red trim as well. That's kind of getting through that Energon glow that a lot of those designs had in the movie, or in the video game, rather. Hey, it's Studio Series. It's some studio, right? It is, however, missing a lot of those Energon glow lines that would have been really cool, but I understand that, that's little detail stuff that would be hard to budget in at a full retail scale. But, for what we got here, I really, really enjoy it. So, let me get the gun off. It does not have a 5mm peg to plug into things. It has these two little tabs that go into the back. So, yeah, these do have the appearance of just folded up feet. But I will say it is a far stronger attempt at creating the big block rear to the vehicle mode from the original game than the previous deluxe class attempt that basically had the thighs of Optimus just sticking out the top, and I never liked how that looked. So here, at the very least, it is far more solid looking, far more correct to the games. The exception is on the back, where yes, he does have his fists exposed. I've seen a lot of discourse over this, and honestly, this feels like such a minor point to me. I don't understand getting so bent out of shape over the rear section of the truck when how often are you really going to look at the back of the truck? Really? Like 99% of the time, if you got in vehicle mode, you're looking at it from this, not really the rear of the truck. Like, who buys a Transformer and goes, I want to look at the tail lights all the time? No. Yes, they probably could have engineered a couple panels to cover it up, but I still find it to be a far better job than what they did previously. So I'm going to count it as a win. It doesn't bother me nearly as much as it bothers other people. That's your prerogative. For me, I don't think that's a deal killer. I don't like letting little things like this ruin all the good stuff that's going on about the toy, because this is a really, really good vehicle mode. It feels really good. It feels big, like considering how small some Voyagers have felt lately because they compact down so well. It feels big. Like, it feels its price point. Let's put it that way. Now, if you want to accessorize your Optimus Prime, you're a little bit limited here. The bottom of the feet almost had 5mm pegs, but it's just detail instead. The only 5mm ports you have are here on the sides, and his Energon Axe does actually have a 5mm port to plug it in. Doesn't look good in either mode, though, so you might as well leave it off. Find some extra weaponry to plug in, maybe some missile launchers that fit on the side. That's kind of appropriate. So not a lot of utility accessories, but you know what? It still looks pretty nice. I don't really think it needs added weaponry. I think it looks cool as is. Now, the fun part. Let's get to transforming this. Now, the original, I felt was a little bit too fiddly, a little bit too panely. Like, well engineered, but certainly felt like it was overcomplicated. This one, different story. Different story. So, I'm going to start by unpegging these panels on the side. Right, like so. Make sure those exhausts stay up for now. We will need to fold them down later. Alright, so get those to the side and out of the way. We will clamp everything down later. Up to the top to fold these out like so. I'm going to go ahead and, I'm going to go ahead and fold those out just so we can get that started. Raise the whole thing up. That'll let you fold the feet out completely and close the legs down like so. Yep. We'll talk about that in robot mode. We'll talk about that in robot mode. Once the legs are up, let's go ahead and fold these arms outward like so. That'll give me the range to rotate the waist 180 degrees. Separate the legs. I'm going to fold the rear wheels in like this. Make sure they click in the back. Make sure they're nice and secure. Now we can go ahead and fold these parts down. Fold that up as well. That's going to finish off our legs. And now we can focus on getting that torso transformed. Right, so I'm going to pull these sections from the sides all the way off. Fold this up 90 degrees. Rotate that around. With that out of the way, we can fold this entire front section up like that. Rotate the sides like so. Go around to the back. Make sure all that is folded up. It is just the 2 hinges to fold everything up, and then when you squeeze everything back together, should fit snugly, just like that. We'll go around to the front to clean everything up. Rotate the arms like so. If you have the fists bent or curved, you can go ahead and rotate them back to where it was. Make sure his head is upward, and then you're done. That is your Optimus Prime. Compared to the original, it's an extremely intuitive transformation that handles itself really well, and it's a really nice, fluid transformation. Really fun. I actually really enjoy transforming this one. Nothing that's too reliant on panels, lots of big chunk parts that I really enjoy, and it just kind of feels satisfying. It's a really, really fun figure to mess with and transform. He's looking good. He's looking so good. So the thing with the High Moon Optimus Prime design is how freaking bulky it is. It is a big, buff, powerful looking Optimus Prime. I like big, like powerful robot aesthetic, and this certainly applies. It's way heavier looking and way thicker than the original, even taking account the proportions for Voyager over Deluxe. It is still very much has this just much bulkier appearance to it. So it cleans up really nicely. The bulk that it does have, the kibble that it does have, is mostly correct to the games. They, even in the game model, Optimus Prime's wheels end up right where they are here on this toy. The downside is the backside of the toy does not feature the big Autobot logo, which is a little bit of a downside if you're that much of a huge stickler for the games. It was pointed out the Studio Series Gamer Edition focuses on the backside looking good because that's how you see the characters that are playable most of the time. Sensible choice. Here, didn't really have the option of making Prime's back accurate. I'm happy that it's just clean. Aside from the bumper sticking out a bit, there's really nothing of like wasted space or things that should be folded up. It looks really, really good. Now, we go in close to the head sculpt. The head is a little bit small for the body, but that is entirely intentional for the aesthetic of the video game design. So, not going to knock that. It looks good. It's a really sharp Optimus Prime sculpt. Looks really, really nice. It's the kind of sculpt that would look really good in Nemesis colors. Hint, hint, Hasbro. The Deluxe looked really good in Black Convoy colors. I would like to see it again. But yeah, head design, spot on. Looking at the detail in general, Optimus does feature a lot more gray here. It's in the waist, midsection, thighs, and you can see the exposed joints have also been cast in that same dark gray. It could stand to be a little bit darker for the sake of the games, but I think it's just the right hue to not like tone the toy down a drastic amount. It looks good. I think in photos, it looks a little bit lighter and a little bit maybe like cheaper to some people. That, I think it's, I don't know, I think it looks fine in person. When we get into other details exposed, we have the Autobot symbols are now exposed here on the shoulders. We got some more paint on the chest, obviously, to emulate his chest windows, even though he doesn't have windows yet. Still on Linux. Easy joke. Midsection has a little bit of paint to separate it from the belly. You get a little bit more of the Energon exposure parts here in the midsection, as well as underneath his windows. And then the inside of his shins also have his traditional silver paint. So he's got a lot more detail going on. Like, he is a very nicely designed and detailed rendition of this character. Obviously, it could use a little bit more paint. Customizers would be happy to show you what the toy would look like if it's totally game accurate. But for retail level, I think it looks really, really nice. Now, you saw that hand fall off mid-transformation. That isn't mine that's defective or anything, though I will state that mine is a little bit looser than I intend. So, the right arm does come off on a 5mm peg, and that is to allow him to mount his weapon the way it is in the video game, as an actual replacement arm, which gives you this interesting little accessory option. Game accurate. Nice thing to have. I would kind of wish there was some 5mm peg that would at least fold out so I could have it as a traditional gun if I wanted it that way. But I do understand this is how Transformers worked in the games, so it does make total sense to do it in this manner. Now, on mine, yes, the peg is a little bit loose, but it still holds in place in most poses, it's not really that much of a bother to me. I can tighten it up a little bit if I really need to. And yours has probably got a decent chance of being fine. The peg tolerance like that is very much a figure-to-figure thing. So don't take mine as like a hard example of like, oh no, all of them are just going to have an arm that falls off on a whim. No, you're probably fine. You're probably fine. All right. We're going to get to his other weapon accessory here in a bit. I do want to go into his, if I can put his arm back the right way. There we go. I do want to get into his articulation breakdown before we go into his axe, because his axe is cool. The head ball jointed, moves left and right all the way around, has a lot of really good up and down as well. If you want to pose it looking straight up, you can almost do that. Universal shoulders that work really, really nicely. All that works really super well. Bicep rotation, fully operational, 90 degree at the elbow. Waist, 360 degrees, all that working great. There are sirens going off outside, but I gotta press on, so we will press on. Universal hips, there it goes. Universal hips going through. There's a fire truck, very excited for this Optimus Prime toy. Thighs, 360 degrees. Knees get to 90 degrees despite the junk in the back. Ankles pivot as well. Lots of great posability on the figure. Lots of great posability. You can get into some super nice poses that have a lot of like big Hulk kind of character to them. Now, there's a couple more tricks to them. So first off, yes, there is a matrix chamber inside. The chest does open. The matrix is there. It is removable. It is also way too small to be held. So it's yet another matrix that does not quite fit in the hands of the Optimus Prime that it is made for. And I don't believe that is 3mm compatible either, so it's unique to that matrix. But hey, more matrices for your growing collection. Beyond that, we have that axe that we have to talk about. The axe, I think, is super cool. So for starters, it is based on like his full-sized, like double-handed axe. I haven't tried a double-handed pose yet, but I suppose it's possible. More than that, though, there's a versatility to this weapon I really like. So, in order to get his hand in the middle of the axe, like he holds it in the games, the bottom section of the handle does come off, and you can use that to customize your other weapons, or come up with some other creative use for it if you want. But more than that, that also comes off as well. So you can use that as some accessory piece, or you can just skip it all together and just give him a short axe, more like a hatchet than a battle axe. Oh, but speaking of battle axe, if you really want to, someone was really thoughtful in realizing that Optimus Prime, when swinging the axe, has a different design than when it's just a static axe in his hand. It's double-bladed when he swings it. So, you'll actually notice they let you open it up. That's a super cool detail. That's super cool detail and attention to detail. And I love the versatility. I love how many options this axe has as an accessory. You know, it makes it a lot of fun. Now, could I have used more of that orange paint to give it more of an energon glow? Absolutely. But it still doesn't look bad. Just like as a trace of the blade of it, I think it looks fine. But I know some people will be a stickler about that. Whoa. Stay up, Prime. I gotta give you your weapons here. But for me, it's fine. I still really like the look of this. I like the versatility of it. You know, it's a really cool weapon. You know, it's a really cool energon axe. For someone who typically is not a huge fan of Optimus Prime's energon axes, I think this one works really, really well. So that is going to be Gamer Edition Optimus Prime Studio Series 03. However long you want to extend that out. I have seen some mixed reactions to the toy. I think people get way too hung up on the little things wrong with the toy and forget everything else that is going on. You've got a great proportion, and oh, by the way, great sized Optimus Prime. He's big and buff as a figure. He feels his price point. And I feel like people are just giving it a hard time because, oh, there's fists exposed in the back. Oh, he's got hollow thighs. You know, he's got some hollow parts on the inside. Really, it's not hurting the toy. It feels fine. It doesn't feel cheap. It doesn't feel hollow. Guess what? Your toys have always been hollow. You can just see it now. That's the only change. No, he works great. He works great. He feels great. Transformation's fantastic. I find it to be a drastic improvement over the original Deluxe, but that's just my opinion. And yeah, I love the weapon options and accessories, and I'm looking forward to all the things they're going to repaint him into. Can I get a Nova Prime by chance? I think this would be awesome as a Nova Prime. Can we do that, please, Hasbro? Thank you so much. But then, thank you guys for watching. This is a longer review because I wanted to take attention to this toy and show you everything about it, because this is a super nice toy. And like seriously, like already in my like, is this gonna be in my like best Transformers of the Year list? Yes. Is it gonna be very high? Probably. But we got a lot of the year to go to decide that. For now, it's a fantastic figure. Grab it when you can, and ignore the haters. It's like critics to the Mario movie. They don't know what they're talking about. This is fun. Guys, I am facing the most powerful enemy any YouTuber can face, the algorithm, and I need your help to defeat him. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, and leave a comment. Every time you do, we attack that algorithm and we drive it back until it can no longer defeat this channel. Thank you very much.